In this morning's roundup, states are once again moving to restore work requirements for food stamp recipients. Thousands could lose government aid after a controversial work mandate that was reinstated on Friday. The 20-year-old rule, which was suspended in many states during the economic recession, requires adults without children or disabilities have a job in order to receive food stamps. That job must come within 3 months of applying for aid. And now that the economy is up and the unemployment rate is down, states are moving to restore those requirements. This change has reignited a fierce debate between conservatives and liberals, with critics saying the mandate is outdated with the new economy, but others say it encourages people to rejoin the workforce. So what is the future of food stamps? That's our topic this half hour, and we want to hear from you on Facebook and on Twitter, so make sure you weigh in on the discussion. Joining us live in the newsroom is Fox 26 legal analyst Chris Tritico, Democratic media consultant Mustafa Tamiz, and Republican strategist and public policy analyst Jackie Bally. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
All right, what do you have to say about this one? I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic discussion.
So let's do a little history lesson. This was a Clinton-era law that Bill Clinton signed. It was a controversial law when Bill Clinton signed it. The controversy then is the same argument that we're having today, is how can you take these benefits away from people who are having trouble finding a job and at a time when jobs are hard to come by. Bill Clinton signed the law and said that it is the time to do this, to get people who can work back into the workforce. Mustafa Tamiz, the Obama administration has taken credit for creating 9 million jobs in the last 7 years and has touted for several years now that they have turned the economy around. And for Democrats to come out and say it's not time to reinstate this provision, I think is probably a bad argument.
Well, I mean, unemployment's sitting at 5%, so there is a natural sense to say that people can get a job, and most people can. The challenge is that there are some communities, especially in rural areas, manufacturing jobs that just left, and in those areas, unemployment rate is far more than 5%. It's anyway 10, 12, even higher than that in certain places. And for those folks, they're not able to find a job because one doesn't exist. And so when you take the social support network out of it, then what will they do? And that's a real challenge. I think there's a belief that people, across the board don't get a job because they're lazy and they want to live on these food stamps. I just don't find that to be true, because if you look at the numbers, people that are unemployed, for the most part, are stuck in this cycles of poverty.
Now, this provision is limited to people without children who are not disabled. So able-bodied people without children have to have a job within 3 months of getting on food stamps. But what about what Mustafa's saying? There are pockets, if you will, in the country where manufacturing jobs are places that have a higher unemployment than the 5 or 4.9 or 5%, and their jobs just aren't there.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways. You can't say that, when I say you, as in liberals,
I know what you mean.
You can't say that, oh, we're doing such a great job creating new jobs, we're doing such a great job in improving our economy, but then we can't say, but wait a minute, we don't have enough jobs. So the fact that we have $477 billion in subsidies like these food stamps or something like that, in aid to help people to get back on their feet. This is our opportunity now to say, look, liberals, you're saying that the economy is flourishing because of the Obama administration, so this is a time for able-bodied people who do not have dependents to go out there and get a job.
Yeah. And it gives them 3 months. I mean, it's not like you have to do it immediately.
I want to point out, it was the Clinton administration that passed it. It's the Obama administration that's just taken that off. So it's not that they're saying that it's not there, but I truly believe that there are pockets in this country that are still stuck because of the recession and because of jobs that have moved overseas over the decades, and there has to be something we have to do about those rural communities, those manufacturing communities.
Okay, well, let me go to Domily. We'll talk about that coming back. Domily's early in the morning. Domily is monitoring our social media.
Yeah, easy for you to say, Chris Tritico. All right, Arnetta Hicks Murray says, look, if a person wants to work, they can. I love the reinstatement. What do you guys have to say about that?
Well, that's what I was just about to point out, and thank you, Arnetta, for saying that, because when the Obama administration said we're going to stop this 3-month work requirement, it was only intended to be a temporary thing. At the time when Obama took office, we were bleeding 800,000 jobs a month.
Right.
And so the Obama administration said, wait a minute, we can't have this 3-month requirement when we're losing 800,000 jobs a month. It wasn't intended to be forever.
Yes, it was supposed to be a Band-Aid. It was supposed to be an aid to help them get back on their feet. And 3 months is a sufficient amount of time. And yes, the Obama administration is the one that's saying let's do away with it now that the economy is getting better. But you're seeing lots of liberals who are arguing against that, who are saying, look, this is still not the time. We still need to continue to give them aid. But then you look at generations upon generations who continue. There are so many studies that show that if you're under these types of subsidies, your children are also, for some reason, under these type of subsidies. So clearly what we're doing now is not working, and continuing to put them in that cycle is not helping them.
It's not that. If you look at the thoughtful issue, this issue a little bit more thoughtfully, there are communities that are in different places, especially rural communities that don't have access to transportation, that don't have a way to get to those jobs because they don't live near them. There's also issues that our economy's changed. Right now you have a lot of people that have temporary positions, but they don't last. They may have a job for a week or 2 weeks, but then they're unemployed again. So the social assistance helps people from not being hungry. And to say that it's all about lazy people that don't want to get a job, that's not true. It wasn't true when Bill Clinton said it. It doesn't true when Barack Obama said it. It doesn't true when conservatives say it.
So it seems that there may not be a simple one-size-fits-all fix.
That's correct. That's correct. But then the fact that we continue to make the same mistakes, continue to give them aid, but then they're still not getting a job, is telling us that that's not working either.
Look, I'm sure there's some people that take advantage of the system. I'm sure there are
in any
system,
system.
yeah, and I'm sure there are a number of people that defraud the system. But overwhelmingly, people are not poor because they're lazy. They're poor because they're stuck in this poverty cycle, and they live in areas where jobs aren't being created, and that's why we see the big divide between the rich and the poor.
All right, we're going to have to leave it right there.